Hi, my name is Crystal. I live in West Jordan, Utah with my husband Ron and our 3 kids. In 2016, we also had a daughter named Eleanor. She was stillborn after I had cholestasis in my pregnancy. She was my second pregnancy. Everything in this pregnancy was very typical. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Everything was going great up until the second half of my 3rd trimester. I started getting the intense itching that you hear about with cholestasis. I'm talking my hands, my feet, my legs, my chest especially, in my ears, my eyes, my throat, my nostrils, everything was itching. I could not get any relief. I wasn't sleeping. It was awful. I was itching to the point of breaking my skin. I was bleeding. I would take really cold showers, and then I would change it to really hot showers just to try to get some relief, and it just wasn't happening. I also had upper right quadrant pain a lot, and that's something that I had experienced in my previous pregnancy. I never really thought that it was a symptom of anything. But I had started Googling my symptoms and I found cholestasis. It immediately came up. And when I went into my doctor's for my checkup, I told her, look, this is what's going on. I'm really worried about it. Do you think this is something that I could have? And she really kind of brushed it off. She told me it wasn't very common. We'd have to take blood tests, which we didn't really want to deal with. I'd have to start taking stress tests, things like that. She told me it was most likely just my skin stretching because of how much I was growing. I hadn't been pregnant in 14 years, so, I was kind of told just to stop stressing myself out and stop Googling things and to go home, get some rest, and, just kind of deal with it. And that's what I did. I told myself I wasn't going to stress myself out anymore, and I went home and things weren't getting any better. I think about a week had gone by where I had called again. My doctor was out of town, and I had called and spoken to the doctor that was in charge and their nurse, and she had me come in to do the blood tests, and sure enough, my bile acids were elevated. At the time, they were about 49, so they weren't really high, but they were elevated, and they prescribed me Urso, and I went in, got my prescription, and I was ready to have this baby girl. I told my husband we need to get everything ready because she's going to be here early. So I spent a Saturday shopping for everything I needed. We got all of our last items, and I went home and I really sat down, and I was really good about doing kid counts at the time, and I realized, I haven't felt her move for a while. I started getting really nervous, moving around, wasn't feeling anything. And I started, maybe I'm just overthinking this. I got up to go to the bathroom and there was blood. And so I grabbed my husband. I told him we need to go to the hospital now. And we went there. We grabbed my oldest, went into the hospital, and I was trying to remain positive. I was horrified that something terrible was going to happen. And we got our ultrasound where the doctor confirmed that her heart had stopped beating and she had passed. So she was born about 10 hours later. It was my most difficult deliveries. She was born, she was just over 7 pounds. She was about 19 inches long. She was beautiful. She was so beautiful, and we spent the day with her, and the one thing that I remember the most about that day was rubbing my lips on her little eyelashes. That sticks with me, and that's what I always remember about that day, is feeling her little eyelashes. But I went home. We had a service for her a week later, well, just under a week later, and my family gathered around us and helped us get through that time. And I always told myself that if I'm able to share this story, I will. My one thing that I want people to know is to really advocate for yourselves. If you know something is wrong, don't let it be dismissed. Listen to your gut. If you're showing symptoms, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's something that's more common than people really want to admit, and it's just, I felt dismissed, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. Right after I had her, I started searching online. You start reaching out for people that have experienced stillbirth as well, and I found this community, and I had joined there, and I just really started reading about these different resources that there were, and they had high-risk doctors that they could recommend in my area, and I found a doctor here in Utah that was listed on the site, and he delivered my next two babies. My son, I didn't have cholestasis in my pregnancy. We still monitored my bile acids, and we still did stress tests, and I never got it. My youngest daughter, I did get it in her pregnancy. It was very mild. My itching was very, very mild. I still got urso. I did my stress tests, and I was induced early with both of my babies. We were induced at 36 and a half weeks for both of them, which I know was really early, but I lost my daughter at 36 and a half weeks as well, and I didn't want to go to that point. Again, it was really stressful and scary at that point. So my doctor was great. I was so thankful to find these resources and have a community that understood what I was going through, and a place where I can give some advice and reach out to people if they need it. But if you're having these symptoms, if you're itchy, if you have those upper right quadrant pains when you're pregnant, don't ignore them. Don't let your doctor dismiss them. It's an easy blood test just to see what's going on, to have that peace of mind. I want my daughter Eleanor's her birth and her pregnancy to mean something and to help other people out.